Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm Jones. If we haven't already met, I'm an author and small publisher committed to changing the world for the best of and practices. And we are for my author-based live series where I interview the amazing and inspiring authors in my network to discuss the personal things that have shaped our lives and careers. So if you're joining us, share, let us know that you're here. And today I'm talking to Sarah.
I'm so glad to
So
be here.
fun. I love all of my TikTok connections of people that I meet on the talks, and you are just one of those amazing people, and actually was a beta reader for me as well.
Yes, I was. Oh my goodness, I loved your latest book.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we have a good relationship going here. So tell me your backstory. Let's jump right on in. How did you get to where you are today?
Okay, sure. So, for as long as I can remember, I've just been really drawn to reading and writing. And I think my earliest memory that I have is I would like look through pages of picture books before I could even read. And I would just like
Mm,
tell the story based on illustrations. I would just like make up my own story
I love
based
that. I
on
love that.
illustrations. Yep. So like that brings me to like every writer I think starts off as like a storyteller kind of as a
Mm,
child.
yeah, I think it's a
And
default.
oh yeah, definitely. And when I was a kid, I had imaginary friends. Did you have imaginary friends, Claire?
No, but I did
No?
like they didn't stick around. I like had
Yeah.
imaginary scenarios that I acted out by
That's
myself, but it wasn't like the
yeah.
friend stuck around, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, so with my imaginary friends, so imaginary friends I think are just like characters for kids.
Mm,
Like that's like an
mm.
indicator that you're going to be an author. Like, if you have scenarios with like characters, like imaginary friends.
Yeah.
So I used to like create scenarios and stories centered around the characters that I made up in my head. And I did that so much that they became super real to me. And rather than playing with the other kids during recess, I would be
Mm.
like making my own story on the playground with my imaginary friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Um, and I tried, and the thing is, like, I've tried like literally every hobby there is out there, and I've quit every like sewing, dance, like all of these hobbies I've
Yeah.
tried. I've
Yeah.
quit because I didn't have a passion for it, but I've always had a passion for reading and writing, and that's just kind of stuck with me.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
I know that I'm a writer and it's something that I've never given up on and I've always worked on towards
Yeah.
becoming.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. I mean, I can relate to so much of that is like I was an only child of divorced parents, and so I spent a lot of time in my own imagination. And like
Mhm.
I remember creating these scenarios, like I call like they're soap operas for all intents and purposes of
That's
like,
amazing.
you know,
Yeah,
things going wrong and drama and kidnapping and like
yeah.
all of the like crazy stuff that happens in soap operas. And like I would just imagine those on my own. But yeah, I mean,
It's
we're
funny
just
how much like drama you can create as like a child, like in your brain. Like I was a literal kid and I had like so much like drama going on and everything. Yeah,
well, we learn it from the media that we consume, right?
true. Yeah.
Like I accidentally read my first romance novel in third grade.
Oh,
I just thought it was like a love story. I didn't like know what I was getting
was
into.
was it like a spicy like
It
romance?
was,
Ooh,
yeah,
in third grade? Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my,
Well, like I was reading at, more advanced levels at an early age, and I ended up going to a church rummage sale with a friend and her mom, and there was like tables of books at this church rummage sale, and like my friend's mom wasn't really paying attention to like the books that I was looking at, and so like I grabbed one because I think it was called like Heart Song, like VC Andrews. I still have the book
okay.
around. It's like it's a canon event for me.
Right. That's definitely like part of your permanent collection for sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like, when you read the back of romance novels, they're vague enough that you don't know if they're spicy most of the time, especially back in the 90s, right? Like we didn't really have dark romance. We didn't really have monster romance like in the mainstream at that point in time.
Yep.
So it was like midway through reading the book that I realized that I probably shouldn't have been.
My gosh. Oh my
And so
goodness.
a lot of my imaginary scenarios after that point were like romance, drama, novel.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. That is so funny. And
Yeah.
at a church yard sale too.
It was $1 and I had $1 on me and I was just
Amazing.
like, here we go. And like obviously none of the adults had any idea what's going on.
Somebody's great grandma must have been reading some spicy stuff and donated it to the church.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Hilarious.
But it's so funny because, you're right in the sense of even the hobby thing that you were saying. Like, I tried so many hobbies as a kid and just like quit
Yeah.
every single one. It
Yeah.
got to the point where my dad was literally bribing me to do extracurriculars.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, those were more sports related because he was like a sports guy. And so he thought like being active was really important. And so I remember, I think it was in fifth grade, he bribed me to join the basketball team for the season. And I think he bribed me with a portable CD player. Like 12 CDs, I think was included in the bribe, and a Game Boy Color.
Girl, I would have done that too if I were you, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, okay, fine.
Fine. Like, okay.
And so I lasted half of the season. And so I got like half of the things that he promised me. And like at that point, I had gotten the Game Boy Color and I was like, I'm good. Peace.
Right? Like, okay, no more for me. Thanks for the Game Boy.
But yeah,
Amazing.
that's so funny. Is like we try all of these different hobbies, we try all of these different extracurriculars, but really we have to return to our first loves, which are books.
Yeah. Yep.
So where did it go from there? Like what shaped your journey to writing a book today?
Yeah. So, when I was in I think middle school, I started like I call it like a magazine journal. And I would like cut out like pictures from like Entertainment Weekly. That was like my favorite magazine ever. Entertainment Weekly and sometimes People magazine too. Like of like pictures of like my favorite movies, like
Yeah,
the actors and stuff, and like favorite
yeah.
TV shows that like inspired me. And I would like tape them in this notebook, and I'd add little like commentary and like scenes and stuff, like with these like characters and everything. And it was in
Hmm.
like one of those like composition notebooks,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I would just like fill it up with like stuff that like dreams and stuff, like stuff I wanted, like like a laptop or something, like just everything that kind of like inspired me to like tell a story and like
Hmm.
write. Um and like these stories like still inspire me today. Like I remember I was like obsessed with that show like Heroes. Did you ever watch that show?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever watched it. I think I can visualize the commercial in my head though.
Yeah, I was like obsessed with this show called Heroes, and it was about these people, and they had like abilities, like mind reading, like telekinesis and stuff. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing in their life. It was like a story where they had separate lives, and all the stories kind of converged,
Mm,
and it was like that type of story.
mm,
And that's kind of like the book I'm writing right now, Lucid. It's kind of like these people that have like abilities and
mm.
yeah, like kind of it's setting in like a futuristic like sci-fi kind of world
Awesome.
too. Um,
Awesome. So what
yeah.
was like the goal that you were aiming towards? Is it just expressing yourself? Like what was the overarching vision that you had?
Yeah, so my biggest like hopes and dreams is to like write a story that an audience can connect with. Like I just
Mm,
really want like kind of like how I really connected with stories when I was
mm,
a kid. I really just want to, and I would like cut out all my little pictures and put them in my book, and I want to inspire people as well. and I want to like make characters that are just like really real and like you can empathize with them and actually like love them and care about them. I mean, I think that's like every author's dream is to just write
Yeah.
characters, you
Yeah.
know, an audience can like love and connect with as much as we do our, as the writer and the author.
Yeah. I almost feel like characters, I mean, people say this a lot, but like they're mirrors of ourselves, right? But then we also want other people to see them as mirrors too, so that
Yep.
we can have that connection with other people through that mirror.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's like feeling seen, heard, validated, understood.
Yeah.
I mean, those are like the basic human needs, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Yep. For sure.
Mhm.
Yep. And it's hard. It's kind of hard to like, and if you're writing like, especially like if you want to make like a bad character, it's kind sometimes it's kind of challenging to like
Mm,
kind of like put yourself in that place.
yeah.
And, also it's kind of hard to like separate yourself from characters sometimes too.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
they talk about that with
yeah.
actors all the time.
Oh yeah. And like people who like method act and stuff. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I don't know. That's really that's really tough. I don't know how people can do that because I mean you can get so far into I mean even in writers too. I mean they can get really far in to like a character and just kind of like get in too deep with it too. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure that happens.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I also the other way around sometimes too. I remember hearing a story, was it this year or last year, of a woman who wrote, I think it was a children's book about the death of her husband.
Oh
I
my
don't know
goodness.
why she wrote a children's book specifically, but it was like, I think it was like helping kids with grief or something like that.
Okay.
And after it got published, after it got some notoriety, they discovered that she actually killed her husband leading up to the book and then wrote this book and like
Well, that's the thing. If you have like a personal experience that you want to write about, but if you want to write it for a certain audience, like maybe you should like tweak it, like okay, like oh, like like a parent passed away or something, rather than like
yeah,
my husband died
yeah,
and it's like for kids. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the thing as a writer, it's like it's better to like tweak, tweak a story based on like a real event to like maybe fit it to like whatever target audience you're.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I haven't heard that. That's probably on some like true crime podcast I'm tune
Yeah,
into.
I can't remember the name of the woman, but yeah, it was somehow like she pretended like, he was murdered in some other shape or form, and it came out that she was actually the one that did it.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So we all come to authoring in different ways, I think. Like that's the thing that we've been discovering in the series is that, the underlying message is that we want to connect with people through story. That's usually what the underlying motivation is. But the path to that is different for everyone.
Hmm. Yep. And so like with my book, I've been working on my book for like 10 years. It's been like a pretty long process, like on and off. I mean, I would like, get a job and like work on it in between, then get another job and work on it in between that. So it's been just kind of a long road and it's always just been kind of just like a hobby that
Mm,
I kind of had to like do on the side. And it's something that I would like absolutely love to just do, like full time.
sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so I thought that my book was like after all these years and all this time I put into it, it was done. I was like, okay, I thought it was like great. I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is amazing. Like done. I'm gonna start sending it out, right? Like putting
Yeah.
it out in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, like I sent it to like agents, right? And it's like, oh, rejections, like right
Mhm.
off the bat. Then I would send it to like ARC readers, and then like I would get ghosted, and then I sent it to like an editor, like finally, like what is going on? Like what am I doing wrong? So I sent it to an editor, and I got back like red lines all over the place.
Mhm.
I got like requests for rewrites and stuff. So I guess like just like man, the bottom line with that is like I learned that, like a perfectly polished story, it's not always going to happen like by yourself in a writing
Absolutely.
group.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's gonna take, like, you know, like I say, like take a village, you know, it takes multiple readers and perspectives and possibly even like an editor to get you as an author to see like some weaknesses in your story,
Yes.
things that you can improve on.
Yeah.
Especially for like a debut author, like such as myself, you know, I'm putting out my first novel. It takes more than just like you alone in your room. You need to have another set of fresh eyes
Yeah.
in your work too.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's a spectrum, right? Like there's people that involve other people in the writing process from the very beginning. And then
Mhm.
there's people who like never involve other people in the
Yeah.
writing process. And like we're somewhere on the spectrum as authors, right?
Yep.
Like I'm one of those people that I can't have, like I can't participate in writing groups, for example, because I don't want people influencing the story before I feel complete with it. Like
Okay.
that feels like too many cooks in the kitchen for me. And
Yeah.
so I won't bring people into the process until I have a finished manuscript that I feel complete with.
Yeah.
And
I totally
then I bring other people into the process. I bring beta readers, I bring editors, I have a formatter, you know, all of that stuff. And it just depends on what your style is, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I also waited to have like a finished product before I like got an ARC readers and even with ARC readers it's like there's so many like varying like opinions. Somebody didn't like this, somebody didn't like that, and then it's like, well, let me take this to like an editor like and see if I can like
Yeah,
narrow it down maybe. And
yeah,
I told my editor everything that the ARC readers were saying, and I'm like, this is what everybody's saying, like let's just try to figure out like what's, you know, like what's the most important course of action I need
yeah.
to take in this book. And oh my gosh, I've cut out like a lot. I'm like adding stuff, and I mean it kind of scares me in a way because it's like I've been working
Mhm,
on this for 10 years. It's like my
mhm.
baby, and now
Yeah,
in the last month of publication I am like, I killed somebody off. I'm like, what am I what's happening? But it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I think I'm making it better, but you know, it's just that's just the struggles we go through. Um,
yeah,
in the
yeah.
writing process and stuff. And it's like, is this good enough? Like, are people gonna like this? And not everybody's gonna like it, but some people will. And then I
Mhm.
had ARC readers who were like, you're changing it, like we liked it. And it's like, well, I
Yeah,
got toasted by more than half the people, so I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do.
yeah.
So it's just like it's like a balancing act. I feel like you're like on a rope and you're just kind of like
It
just
is.
figure out like what, you know, how to stay on course and still be true
Mhm.
to yourself, but you got to be true to yourself.
Yes.
You can't like take out too much, you know, even
Mhm.
if it's an editor telling you to do something, it's got to feel right. And if it
Yeah,
doesn't feel right, it's not going to be good, you know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a push and pull every step along the way. Like there isn't going to be ever a perfect manuscript too. Like perfection doesn't exist in this world. Like that's one of the things that I've learned moving forward. Like one of my favorite phrases is that typos are cockroaches. They're going to survive nuclear war.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like
Seriously.
nothing, like there's always going to be typos, there's always going to be inconsistencies. And honestly, that's what actually inspired me to start writing fiction is I've read so many bad books over the years that
Yeah.
somehow like got to library shelves and bookstore
Right.
shelves and have like, you know, legit audience followings and stuff like that. Like books
Yeah.
that came out where the formatting was completely off or like you know, there's different sections missing. Like,
They're like, let me try my hand at this and
yeah,
see.
I
Yeah.
was like, well, if they're out there doing their
Yeah.
thing, then why can't I be out there doing my thing too?
Right. For sure.
But it's so helpful to get other eyes on it because we can't see our own noses. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
one of my perfect examples of this is in my first book. There was a typo where I, instead of writing the word sharp, I wrote shark.
Oh no.
And so like spell check didn't catch it because it's
Yeah.
a legitimate
Right.
word.
Yeah. Yep.
And it took 4 readers going through it in order to find the typo.
Oh my goodness.
Like 4 rounds of proofreading, including all of the proofreading I had done myself. And it
Oh,
took that long for someone to find that one typo. And like to this day, I still have typos that no one caught.
yeah, it's just gonna happen. It's like no matter how many people you enlist, I feel like it's gonna happen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
potentially gonna happen, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But you do have to have that like underlying foundation of confidence in yourself and the
Yeah.
work, because otherwise you're just going to continually be revising based on other people's opinions too. Because
Mhm.
then you're going to be stuck in that loop as well. Like, we're never going to reach perfection. So, at what point do we say it's good enough?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like like, is it ever? And then the question is like, is it ever going to be good?
Hmm.
You know, like, and then it's like you're like waiting on validation from other people, but it like comes down to the thing where it's like, you have to be proud of
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
The bottom line is you have to be proud of your work and what you've done, and you have to write a story that you like,
Hmm.
not just. And that's the thing with like the industry and like trying to get published. It's like, oh, like you don't really, the agent queries is like, this isn't really gonna fit in with like my people, and it's like, okay, like who cares? It's just like, it's write what you want to write, and just don't worry, and you'll find your audience. I mean, there's always
Yeah,
going to be somebody
absolutely.
out there that
Yeah.
will like your work, so
Yeah, yeah, that's what I say. Like, there's always going to be an audience for you out there, especially in today's world of globalization. Like, we're no
yeah.
longer geographically isolated. Like, we can impact readers all across the world now.
Hmm.
And there's
Yeah.
like, what, 8 billion people on the planet? Like, statistically, there are bound to be people out there who like what you
Yeah,
write.
absolutely. Absolutely. And especially with social media,
Hmm.
like what I mean, like back in the day trying to self-publish, it's like, what did you even do? You're like, go to a
Yeah,
printing press and they like
yeah.
ink it on the page. And what do? You go to like the general store and be like, I have a book, like
Yeah,
anybody wants
yeah,
to read it.
yeah.
You
Stand
go
on
to
the
like,
street
the
corner. Book?
library, like
Anyone? Book? Anyone? Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
in your town or
yeah,
village, it's like, does anyone want to read my book? And there's like
yeah.
20 people like like in your town.
Hmm.
But with like social media and like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like all those, it's like you can really just kind of like spread the word and get like a small following, grow that following. Like in my opinion, the sky's kind of like the limit for
Absolutely.
indie authors and self-publishing these days.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
even need that industry stuff. You just do it yourself. And I mean, you're successful because you have the tools that you need to put it out there with
Yeah.
social media.
I heard a great analogy one time where people were comparing the traditional publishing system to cable television.
Oh, yeah.
Is
You
like,
could.
it's this industry that really needs to be reshaped and
Yeah.
is in the process of being reshaped right now. And we like, self-publishing is almost like the streaming services that we now have available, because
Yeah.
anyone can go to YouTube and create a brand presence. Anyone can go to YouTube nowadays and become a YouTube celebrity if they, do the effort that it
Yeah.
requires.
Yeah.
But not everyone can get onto cable television though.
Mm-hmm. True that. True that. Yeah.
So we've
Yep.
already started talking about this a little bit, but like, lessons, anything you want to impart right now?
Um, So also like with I'm kind of realizing that I'm trying to read more. I don't know if I want to call it like self-help, but it's like I've
Mm,
been reading more books about like self-editing
mm,
techniques and content editing because I have never this is like the first time I'm like realizing I'm like, okay, maybe I need to learn more. Like if I want to be serious about this, I need to learn
mm,
more about self-editing and techniques for that. So I read a book recently. It's called Self-Editing for Fiction Writers by
mm,
I think it's Rennie Brown and Dave King, and they just kind of went into like dialogue. They had different chapters with different,
mm-hmm.
techniques, so like dialogue techniques, like exposition, point of view, interior monologue, and that I think I'm gonna like start reading a lot more books like that. That was like my first one that I've read, and I'm like, I think I need to learn more about this like hobby, this like that I'm doing, and I want to like be the best at it that I can be. And I
Hmm.
need like all the information that I can get my hands on. I think I'm realizing that. I was like, oh, like I can just write a story and it'll be great and everything, but it's like there's an art. It's an art. It is
Yeah,
like an art form.
absolutely.
There's an art to it. There's an art to like suck people in, to
Mm-hmm.
have like good dialogue and um, to like really pull your readers into the
Mm-hmm.
scene setting, be very descriptive, give your characters like good personalities that are
Mm-hmm.
relatable. So there's just like it's just so awesome. There's just so much to
Absolutely.
learn. It's such a fun thing, such a fun hobby and fun thing to do and you know
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
I try to read at least one book like that per year. So I read On Writing by Stephen King.
I need to write this down.
That
On
was a
writing.
good one.
Okay.
Yeah, the next one that's on my list, I haven't gotten around to it yet, is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. That one is recommended to me a lot by like writing coaches and stuff like that. And
Okay.
so, like, there are plenty of resources out there for exactly what you're talking about. And I think it's very important for writers to continually improve their craft. Like,
Mhm.
most industries have some form of continued education, right? So
Yes.
why wouldn't authors and writers as well?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Mhm.
You'll have to send me the titles of those again.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I can look into those. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
start reading more because I want to be, I want to improve and I want to write a really good story that because it's my passion in
Mhm.
life and you understand because
Yes.
you totally understand. You have like two beautiful novels. How's the third one going, by the way?
It's going great. I'm at 37,000 words at the moment, so I'm hoping to get the manuscript done by the beginning of March. That's my deadline for myself. So,
Hey, I'm so proud of you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I
Awesome.
mean, like you, if I could spend all my time writing,
Yeah.
I would be churning out a book probably about every other month.
Right? I know. Like I can't get enough. I can't get enough of it. And that's when
Yeah.
like you were made to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing
Exactly.
else is like that but writing.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
Like I just lose myself when I'm in the creative flow. Like if I'm really in it, like days will go by, hours will go by, and I'm like, have I ate? Like, have I eaten? Like, have
Like
I
a
fed my
montage.
dog?
It's like where what year is it? What time is it? What day is it? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Have I eaten?
Right. Yeah, like have I met my caloric requirement today? I'm not sure.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Well, any other tips or tools or practices that you've used along the way to support
Um,
yourself that you want to add?
I know, just like I cannot stress enough. I mean, social media is wonderful. I mean, you can find ARC readers on there to read your manuscripts. You can find illustrators. I found my illustrator on TikTok, a
Yeah.
wonderful illustrator. And then I found like all my bookish friends on there. And I have
Mhm.
a community. I feel like I didn't have very many friends. And
Absolutely.
now I feel like I have like thousands of friends and it's just great. And that we all have, that passion in common. And it's
Yeah.
like it's beautiful community, really,
Yeah, it is. It is. I honestly wish I had the book talk community when I was 10, accidentally reading romance novels in my free time. Because like I didn't have anyone to talk to about the stuff
Okay.
I was reading because I wasn't supposed to be reading it.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, but like now I have this wonderful community where I can go and like,
Yeah,
let's talk about alien smut today. And they're like,
right. You're not alone. Everyone's like, woohoo, let's talk about spicy books all day. Like, yes.
yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
love it. I love the spicy talk community. Absolutely
mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just so important to surround yourself with those people who get what you're trying to do, who like cheerlead you along the way, who commiserate, who rant with you, because
Yeah.
that's that sense of belonging as well that we're all looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I was kind of like, like going back to my first point, I was kind of like an outcast kid. I didn't have very many friends. I was just in my own little like creative bubble. I would just like
Mhm.
do my own thing. And it's like, I feel like nobody kind of understood me. And it's like, wow, like this is like the first time in my life. I'm 29 years old, and I feel like this is like the first time in my life where it's like I found like
Mhm.
real, like genuine community that like
Love that.
understands. So
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I mean, book talk has completely changed my life. Like, I actually dedicated my second book to book talk.
really, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, amazing.
yeah, because like it's
Amazing.
completely changed my life because I was going through a very big existential crisis at the end of 2021. And that was when someone, like, it was a random networking connection, and we weren't even talking about books, we weren't even talking about anything. But she was like, I think you do well on TikTok, because I had been avoiding it up until that point. I was like, newfangled social media. And someone was like, just lurk on the platform, see what's there, see if you like it, just try it out. And like, I was like, okay, okay. And then like, I stumbled upon people talking about books, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I like books too. Let's
Like,
talk about books. And
let's
then
be
like,
best friends.
and I found, spicy talk and like
Yeah.
all of the things that are on the book talk. And
Yeah.
that's honestly what inspired me to start writing fiction, because I'd never tried fiction up until that point. I tried poetry, I tried nonfiction, I tried academic, but I'd never tried straight up fiction up until that point. And then I saw all of these authors on TikTok writing, and I was like, I
Yeah.
feel like I could do that too.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, you can. That's amazing, dude. That's so
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
So I will underline the social media thing that you said like
Yes.
times.
I don't even know if I would ever be brave enough to self-publish if it wasn't for TikTok. I feel like I owe it to
Absolutely.
TikTok. I mean,
Yeah,
because I like I was just like, let me just put some stuff out there and see what
yeah,
happens, and it's like, holy cow,
absolutely.
like there's people that actually like want to read what I wrote.
Yeah, like I found the majority of my freelancers through Book Talk. I found my cover artist through Tumblr.
Nice.
Hmm.
I love your cover art too, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
he's
really
great. I love him. Apparently, he's in a legal battle with Chris Brown right now
what?
because Chris Brown stole some of his artwork and used it in one of his music videos.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, does that make me famous?
Oh no, Chris Brown. Oh no.
Am I famous by association?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna like you're gonna be called to be like a witness or something on the stand. Like, yeah, this is definitely that artist's work.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, get
yeah.
examples of my books. Like,
Yeah,
see,
right,
this
right.
like
I'm like,
it's
look,
the
it's
same style.
yeah. Maybe I can send a book to Chris Brown and be like,
There you go.
all right, anything you want to add before we start wrapping up for today?
No, just like thank you guys for listening, and you're so awesome, Claire, and I really loved your two books, and I'm really excited. You better be working on that third one so I can read it.
I know. It's so funny. Someone asked me the other day who my favorite character is that I've written so far. And I
Yeah.
was like, actually, my favorite character is someone that I haven't even written yet.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And we're not even going to meet him until book 5, or no, book
Oh my
4.
gosh.
Book 4 is when we're going to like be introduced to him, but his book
Okay.
is book 5.
Okay.
So like we've got a while to go.
I'm so excited.
But I'm really loving the like characters that I'm playing with right now. Like I'm in that mode where
Oh,
like I
God.
need the like week of writing because I'm just like so in it right now that I
It's
just need
kind
to
of like
like
it's kind of like a God complex with your characters. It's like you are the creator. Like,
and
of
they're
the
my little
so
precious.
fun. They're your little babies. They're your babies.
Yeah. And they
I
just try
yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is powerful stuff and very fun stuff that we're talking about here. And audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own insights and stories and feelings with us as well. We'd love to know how visions like these have impacted you in your own lives. Special thanks to Sarah for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Claire. It was so fun.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. This is like the couple months of like TikTok guests that I've had.
Oh, awesome. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah.
I'm in the TikTok group.
Yeah, yeah, you're in the TikTok phase.
Love
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So please comment, like, subscribe below. Check out Linktree/Claire Joins for all of my links. And then where can folks find out more about you?
So I have an Instagram, Lucid the Novel, all lowercase, and TikTok, Lucid the Novel, all lowercase.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll make sure those links are easily findable. And until next time, please remember that you all have extraordinary stories to share, and we're rooting for you as you use them to change the world for the better. So take care, guys.